Very good evening to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. So today is the 25th August 2020 and it's a Tuesday. So Tuesday class we will continue with the Heart Sutta Part 2. We are at chapter 39, lesson 39, page 194. So for those who have gone through the Heart Sutta book, I think our last chapter is chapter 40 something. We are almost at the tail end. Then after that, we still have quite a lot of appendix to go through. So once we go through the appendix, we will finish. Chapter 40, lesson 41 is our last lesson. After that, the appendix are quite interesting, quite long. So we should hopefully finish before September. Before September. Then after that, we can start on a new book. The new book is the Wu Liang Yi Jing, Sutra on the innumerous meaning. So that sutta is a Mahayana sutta. It's a very beautiful sutta. We will go through that. That one involves actually a lot of the Buddha Sakyamuni's prediction. And also it involves many of the story and teaching of the disciples of Lord Buddha Sakyamuni. Anyway, as we go through, we will study. It's quite a thick book, but the sutta is actually very useful, very important. And Mahayana gave a lot of high standing and credit to that sutta. It's also classified as one of the major Mahayana sutta of the Pure Land tradition. The Pure Land tradition has two very powerful sutta. One is the Wu Liang Yi Jing, and the other one is the Wu Liang Shou Jing. So these two sutta, they are very, very unique and very powerful. It seems these are teachings from Amitabha Buddha. And their teachings are very different. They are towards the Bodhisattva way. And it also involves cultivators of great beings, Bodhisattvas. Okay, we will, as usual, have our half an hour of awareness-based meditation. So you can just relax body and mind, silence your mind, and develop your meditation. I will off the light, and as usual, you all just go and develop it through your understanding which we have shared. So be focused, understand what you are doing in the name of meditation, then you won't go wrong. So meditation is very simple. Listen again. You are here to train your mind to develop the heedfulness. The moment you are heedful, you are home. To be heedful, you have to have two qualities: ever mindful, constantly meditative, following the Dhammapada verse 23. To be ever mindful, you must initially train your mind to be mindful first, then stabilize it to be ever mindful, and then after that, use it to meditate, to cultivate Noble Eightfold Path. That's how you become heedful. And the form of meditation is a good way of training the mind to be mindful, then stabilize it to be ever mindful. Then the other understanding is the reason why you cannot be in a meditative state and you need to train this mind is because you lack the spiritual faculties. When you lack the spiritual faculty of Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, and Panya, the opposite five, which are the mental hindrance that hinders your mind from entering the meditative state, they will arise and you become heedless. You think a lot. You cannot silence your mind. You cannot be in the state of awareness. You don't have Saddha, Virya, and Sati. That's why all this will give you problems. So when you understand this, your daily life cultivation, you must develop the spiritual faculty. Then after that, you must actually have a good religious routine to constantly develop mindfulness, leading to heedfulness. That is what meditation is all about. So in the form of meditation, if you already have the spiritual faculties developed, it's very easy to meditate. The moment you relax, silence your mind, you are already in the meditative state. Because spiritual faculty means the opposite by mental hindrance cannot arise. When you have them, it will counter the five mental hindrance. So that is the fastest way. But if you have not stabilized the spiritual faculty or developed it well, you can still meditate, not a problem. You just have to relax and maintain awareness. The four support for awareness-based meditation focus on the first three. The first support is relax into every mind state that arises, whether there is any thinking or whatever, or tension, stress or whatever, or energy build up. You just relax into it. The key thing is relax. Feel yourself completely relaxed, means at ease. Body and mind completely free at ease. So that relaxation take a while to understand, take a while to develop. And once you are relaxed, your mind becomes very beautiful. There is no stress, no tension, nothing. When you are very relaxed, you are at ease, and things can settle down. When your body and mind is relaxed, you are beautiful. The meditative state will arise actually. But you need to maintain awareness. Otherwise, when you are too relaxed, you fall asleep. There is the danger of eh, not having the understanding. But when you are too relaxed, you really can fall asleep. So the negative part is you are supposed to meditate to train your mind to be just aware, which means you must maintain awareness. That's why the second support is aware, maintain awareness. Maintain for how long? As long as you can. The third support technically say 24 hours. So initially is your waking moment whenever you are awake or conscious when you wake up before you sleep. Throughout that period, you must have awareness. Then later on, the awareness can even go into your sleeping mode, or when your body rests, you want to rest your body and mind. You can maintain awareness, and you can be aware even while resting, while sleeping. You can hear your own snoring, but that one is not easy to do. That one you must have the stability of awareness and mindfulness to do that. Means you must have the ability to be most of the time aware at your heart area, where there is the gateway to your nature. There is a seat of consciousness. From there, consciousness arises, and you become aware from there. Yeah. So all this understanding, you will develop them once you are able to connect to your nature within. Okay, you can slowly, mindfully come out of the meditation. Okay, let us now continue with our Heart Sutra, second edition. We will go to lesson 39, page 194. So this particular section, part 2, is on meditation. So when we cultivate the 3 turnings of the Four Noble Truths, that is the major aspect of cultivation. The 3 turning correspond to the 3 types of wisdom that can arise when we cultivate them. So first turning is about proclamation of Dhamma by the Buddha. So if you listen to the Sutra or the discourse as proclaimed by the Buddha, then if you have your past affinity and condition, you can awaken. When you awaken, you develop a type of wisdom called Suttamaya Panya, means Sutta, a wisdom born of hearing the Sutta. The Sutta is the discourse of the Buddha. They are called suttas. Then after that, the second turning is you have to go beyond just hearing or listening. And nowadays, maybe under our modern era, we can listen to the recorded talk, the video or the pen drive recordings. Or in the early days, we had this cassette tape. Then later on, we have the CDs. Then now we can listen to all the audio file. The audio file now they can come in many forms. You can also save them through your pen drives or through your whatever file. Then also the video recording now they are very clear. The audio recording also very clear. So we have the benefits of science. So scientific advancement has helped us a lot. Then nowadays we also have all this software to help us to produce books, soft copy and hard copy. Then we can refer to them very easily, very conveniently. So all this can be part and parcel of the first turning. So when you listen to it again, view it again, the video, or you read about it, all this constitute first turning. But during the time of the Buddha, you have to be around to listen when he is delivering the teaching or the sermon. Otherwise, you have to wait for Ananda to repeat it based on certain condition that arise. And Ananda can actually repeat them because he has very good memory. Then when it comes to second turning, the Buddha said, after you have listened, if it still does not impact on you very much because you don't have past support or karmic conditioning to help you or affinity to help you understand or awaken, very likely in the past you have not cultivated before, then you can go for the second turning. The second turning is, the Buddha says, you should reflect, contemplate, and inquire into what he has proclaimed. Then you can develop clearer understanding. It's just like in the school or in the classes or in the university. When you listen to a subject that is new, where you don't have prior knowledge or understanding, it can be a technical subject, physics especially, or chemistry, or even biology. Then there are a lot of other type of subject, geography, history, and also the economics, arts, law, or whatever. So when you first time listen to it, it's like you are not able to comprehend much, but they are so alien to you, like very new to you. So what you need to do is you have to go through the teaching again, or go through the notes again, or read up about it more from other source, textbook or whatever. Mm. Then you reflect, you contemplate, then you inquire. Why did the Buddha say this? How can I develop the understanding of it? So when you start to reflect, contemplate, then inquire, you develop a type of understanding which is more stable, clearer. That's why we call it contemplative wisdom. So this contemplative wisdom is to allow you, yeah, to develop clearer understanding so that you can develop a deeper understanding of the teaching. So when you start to study it more, listen to it again and again, discuss with people, then develop the contemplative wisdom, the inquiry through Dhamma discussion or whatever, then you start to have clearer understanding. Then you start to have the ability to assimilate them. Yeah. So this assimilation of the Dhamma is very important. The second turning is for you to reflect, contemplate, inquire, and develop the clearer understanding so that this Dhamma stabilize. Then you can assimilate them into your nature so that the understanding become more stable. If you can do that, this is second turning wisdom. The Buddha called it Chintamaya Panya. Panya is wisdom. Panya born of contemplation and reflection and inquiry into the truth that the Buddha has proclaimed. So these are called second turning wisdom. Uh, so once you have the first and second turning wisdom, it will prepare the base for you to receive teachings or truth to awaken. So these are called initial wisdom that a cultivator needs. That's the reason why the first two turning is less of a bhavana type or meditative discipline. It's more of listening, reflection, contemplation, and inquiry. It means you must have a calm mind, a collected, clear mind, a creative mind that can have the spiritual faculty to help you to understand spiritual teaching. So first and second turning wisdom are very important and very useful, especially for cultivators who are new, who has not developed any form of past cultivation. But for those who have past cultivation very stable or very strong, when they come, they don't have to go through the third turning. From the first, second turning, they can awaken straight away because they have cultivated before, they have understood this before. So the moment they listen, the nature understand. The nature doesn't feel that this is something new or alien to them. It's like very familiar. And because of the ability to comprehend, where in the past you have developed the cultivation until it's so clear, so stable. That's why whenever you arise as a form of mind, you only need truth to awaken. And these are people who are very special. They call them the great beings. That's the reason why this line, my nature understand, because when it arises, it has this ability. A lot of things that are related to the spiritual understanding, my nature get attracted and it open up and have the capacity to comprehend and understand and awaken. Then it knew the beauty of that truth. Then it doesn't need people to explain to me my nature. Immediately, when this nature awaken or understand, sometimes even the person who share that truth may not understand that truth, but my nature already have the understanding. And it's pretty amazing. Yeah. That's why when I reflect back, I realize this slide also saying, whatever understanding I have, I will reflect, contemplate, and stabilize it until very, very clear, until it's like a part of my nature, until I understand it like inside out. That's why if this life you cannot have this stability or understanding, in future, when you take a new birth with a new form of mind, you don't stand a chance of understanding all these things. That's the reason why in cultivation, even after you have awakened, you have to continuously stabilize this understanding, continuously go into life, reflect, contemplate, and stabilize this understanding. And I realized the best way to do it is to be involved in the teaching, to be involved in the Dhamma, uh, life itself. Then when you are involved in the teaching, like what I did when people invited me in the year 2004 to share, then my nature was ready, then the condition was there, and it decided to come out and share. Then when I did it, I realized it keep my nature constantly involve itself in Dhamma. Then it will evolve its understanding and share depending on condition that arise. Because cultivators are all very different. Some at very different stages of their evolution or cultivation. Some may have their past. But most of the time, most of them are just normal cultivator. But once a while you will meet some special one. Uh, so all this understanding, they will start to unfold. Then depending on the condition and the nature of the cultivator, this nature know how to share. Uh, then when it share, it will also go through life to experience more and more things. And my nature realize the more I give, the more stronger this nature become. Uh, That's why that sharing and giving is very, very vibrant. It's not what you think. It's not like those selfish people, hey, how can I teach you everything? After that, you become better than me. In Dhamma, there is no such thing because technically it's impossible unless the other person has his past, has his very special past. Then he can actually immediately awaken and progress very fast. But most people can't. Most people can't. And by the time you understand what my nature share and say, my nature has evolved further because it continues to inherit from its spiritual nature. And its spiritual nature has cultivated for so long. And the understanding is so like uh, so complete in a sense that there is no way you can really catch up with it. And the moment this nature connect and have the understanding, then when it starts to inherit the spiritual nature, most cultivators haven't even understood what that nature is, come into contact with it. So there is no way you can catch up. Then by the time you meditate until you realize what that thing is, that is just the beginning. You are at the infancy. Then you have to go through all the transformation, changes happening and the understanding. That's why it's near to impossible uh, unless you have your past. So this type of cultivation, you need to have that type of understanding behind. That's the reason why I always advise kilometers to reflect, contemplate on the Dhamma until very, very clear. If this life also you cannot get it developed until very, very clear, future life when you come, you don't stand a chance to recall this teaching or to connect back to this teaching. If you really want to have that ability, you must stabilize this understanding until it's part of you, part of your nature. So that whenever you arise because of your vow, because we vow to have, huh, to invoke power of marriage for causes and conditions for us to have this right view and right understanding, life after life, whenever we choose to come or we have to come. That aspiration, that vow is very important, very powerful. Then together with your cultivation, your stability of understanding, very fast you will receive truth and you will awaken, you will progress and you will connect. That's how you improve from life to life, from stage to stage of cultivation. Uh, then you need to go into the bodhisattva way to move in a big way. Otherwise, it's not easy. Sainthood way relatively is a lot easier. So this is the part today my nature share because I think some of you are ready to understand this and receive this truth. Now we will read on uh, from the Heart Sutta lesson 39. There is a meditative question. He said, Bratio, the Sutta said Buddha became enlightened through self-realization. Then why is it also mentioned in the first sermon or the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta that the Buddha himself also had to go through the three turnings of the Four Noble Truths to become enlightened? Yeah. So this question, I think the person who asked the question was a bit confused because when the Buddha proclaimed after he became enlightened, with this teaching, he self-realized. He has teacher. It doesn't mean he don't have teacher. But all the teacher that taught him, he never realized this teaching of the profound Dhamma that he realized. Because what he realized was completely different from what all those teacher or guide that taught him. And in the first sermon is mentioned that he himself, as a bodhisattva at that time, has to go through the three turnings of the Four Noble Truths before he can proclaim to be the fully enlightened one. So it doesn't mean that the three turning and the Four Noble Truth was not self-realized by him. What it means is Sakyamuni Buddha has cultivated this before. That's why when he was underneath the Bodhi tree, when he made that determination, when the condition fall into place, he suddenly connect to his nature. And when he connect to his nature, he inherited all his past perfection and cultivation. Then he start to understand many, many things that he has never understood before. Then he came to the great realization of the Four Noble Truths and his three turning, where he realized for many, many lives he has been cultivating this one. And this is the one that bring forth the three type of corresponding wisdom: Suttamaya Panya, Chintamaya Panya, and Bhavanamaya Panya. So Bhavanamaya Panya is the third turning wisdom. Wisdom born of Bhavana, meditative discipline. So after you have received the first and second turning wisdom, you will have this initial wisdom to prepare you to receive truth. It's like a base, very stable. Then whatever you do after that, whether first turning hearing or reading listening or whatever. Then second turning, contemplation or reflection or meditative training, the third turning, it can trigger off awakening inside. Then you can just develop the third turning, very penetrative awakening. So this is the reason why the Buddha, under the teaching, when he started teaching the five ascetics, that was the first time he proclaimed the teaching. Inside the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, he said, not until he himself as a bodhisattva has understood this three turning of the Four Noble Truths in its essential way, he cannot proclaim to be the fully enlightened. Which means you need the three turnings of the Four Noble Truths to develop the three types of wisdom to fully awaken. That's the reason why it's so important, this three turning of the Four Noble Truths. And I realized that Theravada Sutta, although it's stated in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the first sermon, that three turning of the Four Noble Truth teaching, but it was seldom taught or expanded on. They cannot connect to the three types of wisdom, Suttamaya Panya, Chintamaya Panya, and Bhavanamaya Panya. In fact, these three types of wisdom was taught separately. Not as a teaching under the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Then only the Mahayana teaching put a lot of emphasis on the three turning. Sanjon follow the three turnings of the Four Noble Truths. That's why the Mahayana, they saw the importance of this teaching. Whereas Theravada, you were to check, so far I think I only heard of, two monks that actually talk about this three turning of the Four Noble Truths, or share some form of teaching. One of them is, I think, Ajahn Sumedho. He wrote a book on it. But his explanation of the three turning is different based on his understanding. Then the other one, I forgot who already. There was another monk who also mentioned it. I think our Piyadasi, under the book The Buddha and His Teaching, by Venerable Piyadasi. It's mentioned inside there, the handful of leaf, the three turning of the Four Noble Truths. But there was no emphasis, no real teaching, and they didn't connect to the three types of wisdom. So because of that, the authentic Dhamma, which is very penetrative, was somehow not there, missing. Even the Mahayana style three turning, it run a little bit. There is a slight deviation. But it's in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. So if you read that sutta, you will understand what I mean. Then when I was asked to come out to share, that was the first sutta that I decided to share when they asked me to start the Dhamma sharing. Because I said the Buddha did that, and I saw one poster at the Vipassana center at that time, above Kanan, their old center. The five ascetics with the Buddha. There is a pictorial, I think they hang it on the wall. Then I told Yun Chan, since the Buddha start with that, I also will start with that. Then after that, I asked her, do you happen to have a copy of the English translation of this sutta or not? I said, I haven't read the sutta. She was very kind. She said, yeah, I get you a copy. Because she was involved in chanting. So there was a chanting book that has this. So when I read through the chanting book, I was so surprised that this three turning is so beautiful. And I knew what that teaching was. I knew the three types of wisdom, how it's connected and all those things. That's the reason why when I share, it becomes very different. Very different. So that was the year 2004. Now I will read through the notes again, continue from where we stopped. So I answer this Kayamita who asked the question. I said the Buddha had already cultivated the the Dhamma, the Bodhisattva way, for 3 3/4 aeons or Asankhaya Kapas to fulfill his 10 perfection cultivation prior to his full enlightenment in India 2600 plus years ago. So the Buddha was already a Bodhisattva then, and he had cultivated the three turning of the Four Noble Truths before. What happened was, when he became fully enlightened underneath the Bodhi tree, he inherited all his past perfection and cultivation. Hence, he knew the three turnings of the Four Noble Truths are very important. So he didn't learn from anybody. There is no contradiction. This teaching was self-realized by him, and he inherited them. And in the first sermon, the Buddha's opening statement is to advise the five ascetics to avoid the two extremes. This advice is very useful, very important if you want to cultivate successfully. He said you have to avoid sensual indulgence. Do not be heedless. Do not indulge in the senses. If you do that, it will lead to downfall. And the second extreme is self-mortification. We are following the middle path, which is the Noble Eightfold Path, as proclaimed by the Buddha. The deeper meaning of the middle way or middle path is to transcend all duality, means to go beyond the two extremes, the dualities. In the early days when I was cultivating the Buddha Dhamma, I haven't really heard of the three turnings of the Four Noble Truths. But I was indeed very lucky because I met a Thai monk, Prajayantra Amarabiko, in 1988. And it was he who constantly, not less than 6 times, advised me to contemplate all the Dhamma spoken by the Buddha until they become very, very clear. I didn't know that this was the second turning of the Four Noble Truths until much later. He also emphasized a lot on the importance of cultivating the daily mindfulness. Because of my very strong saddha and faith in Ajahn Yantra and the Triple Gem missed my past cultivation. I cultivated this Dhamma contemplation or the second turning wisdom and the daily mindfulness a lot. And my understanding of the Buddha Dhamma started to stabilize, and my progress along the path of Dhamma became very smooth and fast. It was only in the year 2004 when I was invited by a sister. This sister is actually Sister Yun Chan in the Dhamma to share the teaching that arises the condition for me to really look at the first sermon or the first sermon sutta, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. I remember it was at section 17, Selangor Vipassana Society, Miss Above Kanan Restaurant, when she asked me what topic I wanted to start off with. I then saw a framed photo of the Buddha giving the first sermon to the five ascetics on the wall. This is the part just now I shared. So I said to her, since the Buddha started with that sutta, I would also start with that sutta, the first sermon. I then asked her for a copy of the sutta, which she so kindly gave it to me. It was a Thai chanting book. And the moment I read the three turning of the Four Noble Truths, straight away I could link my cultivation to it. And there was so much joy. I suddenly understood its meaning and how the three turning of the Four Noble Truths correspond to the three types of wisdom that the Buddha taught us, talk about in the sutta. I had developed on my own cultivation following these three turnings without knowing that they were the three turnings of the Four Noble Truths. So sometimes cultivation can be very strange. You just do. And because my nature had the past, it will know what this thing is. It will know how to share. It will know how to actually develop the understanding. Then later on, after that year 1989, when the understanding arose, then my nature actually didn't do anything. It just let things be because it knew this style of teaching so profound, so deep, ahead of time, which is almost uh, most of the time opposite of what the Buddhist community believes or learn. So it just too like difficult to allow human beings or living beings to develop the understanding. So very few can really understand. Because this teaching is so contradictory to what is popularly accepted by the Buddhist community and the existing teaching at that time. So because of that, my nature was reluctant to share. Then it just let things be. From 1989 until 2004, 15 years, it doesn't do anything. It just let things be. Then in between these 15 years, there were occasions, very rare, once a while, one or two cultivators would drop by, talk to me. Uh, They know I understand many things, but they cannot understand what I share and what I try to explain. Uh, So whenever there is condition when people come, then my nature will try to share. But when it start the sharing, I realized they couldn't understand, they couldn't comprehend. They really couldn't appreciate this sharing and teaching until when condition arise 15 years later, 2004, when I decided to find out with my wife what is happening to our present Buddhist societies. So I was actually a live member of Vipassana Society because I remember in the early day when they bought that piece of land in KKB, I think I donated 500 ringgit if I'm not wrong during the early days. Then I didn't know I was a live member at that time until later on. Then they keep on sending all these letters or circular to me uh, to brief members and all those things. And that year, I remember early to, or I received one of the circular newsletter. And it was actually sent out by Sister Yun Chan. Then later on, I came to know that was the only spiritual trip she organized. It was a spiritual trip to Fraser's Hill. So I told my wife, it will be interesting to find out what the Buddhist community is doing. So I say, interested or not, then we apply. So I wrote in and I applied. And very strange, when I sent in the application with my wife, Yun Chan called me up because she doesn't know me. I seldom go to Vipassana Center too. Yeah, I stopped going to Brickfield Temple for almost 14 to 15 years. Mm. Then he told me in a very nice way, he said, Brad Teo, he said, we received your application, but very sorry, the intake is already full. We only have one bus, so we already reached our capacity. Oh, I say, it's okay. You can put me on reserve list. I say, oh, he said, okay, okay, I put you on reserve list. Then I just let it be. Then what happened was very strange. A few days before the trip, there were a, a few of them pull out, decided to pull out where they couldn't go. Then the number was, I think, two. Then Yun Chan remember me and my wife. Then he called me out. He said, Bertie, you want to go on? I got two-person pull out. So I was thinking you and your wife, it will fit in. Oh, I say that is very good. Okay, I say I will join. Then I told her, how can I pay you? He said, don't worry, I will contact you. Then she lost my, uh, somehow she lost my contact phone number, the house number. He only got my address. Uh, Then she got no choice but to come to my house and explain to me uh, the spiritual trip and the cost and to collect the money, everything. So I invited her into my house. I said, come in, come in. So it was, I think it's something just before 9 p.m. at night. Surprisingly, after that we talked, it ended up almost 11 something, almost midnight. Then I remember the first time she said, but dear, I have to go because the husband called her already. Oh, I said, sorry. I said, you better go. Yeah. Then she went back. Mm. Then after that trip, she came to know I understand a lot of things. Then she also invited me to share at one of the trip, at that trip, at one of the Dhamma discussion session. So I did my sharing there. Then after that trip, she was very happy. She came and visit me again. Then she talked to me. Every time she talked to me, it almost end up midnight. So on 3 occasions, he came. And every occasion after that, he requested for me to come out to share. He said, Prithvi, your Dhamma is so good. Why don't you come out and share your teaching, your understanding? On 3 occasions, I rejected her. I said, never mind, let things be. I said, when condition is there, then my nature will know, then it will come out. At the moment, never mind. So I rejected on 3 occasions because he requested 3 times. But on the third occasion, very funny, after she went back, my nature inside there prompted me. He said, hey, it's about time you come out and share. He said, because the condition now is ready. Okay. Then I throw out another inquiry. I said, but what about the concern that I have? Because I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to cause their karmic nature to fall unnecessarily. So that concern was very real. Well, I'm a lay person. So when I share and I teach and people don't understand, they simply comment or do certain things. My nature don't do anything, but the karmic effect is very severe. So out of love and compassion, I said, I will refrain from sharing until the appropriate condition. Then my nature say, you can set condition, then it will solve your problem. Then I reflected, oh, okay, if that is the case, then I can agree. That's why I call out Yun Chan the next morning. Then I say, on condition, these 3 conditions, you agree, I come out and share. And this condition, I have mentioned them in the website. You can go and read about it. It's to avoid misunderstanding and conflict and to protect people from karmic negativity or karmic consequences, which can be very severe. Uh, so all these are the condition behind is arising. So after that day, everything just unfold until today, and it's already 16 years. End of this year, hopefully we still have chance to hold our uh, anniversary, 16th anniversary of my coming out, my nature coming out to share. We call it the gathering of Kalyana, to celebrate the gathering of Kalyana on an annual occasion. It also happened to coincide with my birthday around the month of October. Uh, So all this has been traditionally done for the past 15 years. So this year, the 16th anniversary, I don't know whether the RMC will be lifted or not, and whether we can have it or not. So we just let things be. So we see how it goes. Okay, I will read on, then you will understand. Okay, I have finished 2.1. So now I will go to 2.2. There's another question. Question 2. The questioner said, our mind can only do one thing at a time. And yet simultaneously, he said he could be aware of a lot of other things. Why? Then when it comes to the actual questioning, he asked in a different way. He said, according to Brother Theo, our mind can only do one thing at a time. But in my meditation, how come I could be aware of my in and out breath, and simultaneously I could be aware of a lot of other things, like many other thoughts going on, perception and bodily sensation, etc. Why is it so? So this question is a very good question. I told Kanimita. And I explained to her, I said, you see, when your anapanasati has stabilized, your awareness will enable you to have that ability. Because mindfulness of your, sorry, I had to read back that sentence. Your awareness will enable you to do that. Because mindfulness of your in and out breath will help you anchor your awareness there. With that awareness, which is just the silent mind with inner awareness of the breath, you can definitely be aware of your thought, your perception, your bodily sensation, and tactile consciousness. Because every time when you are aware, you are not thinking or lost in thought. So this awareness of all your other mental activity like perception, tactile, and thought consciousness are actually separate entities. But because your mind can move so fast, it's as if you can multitask them, as if they are all happening simultaneously. When you are aware of the breath, there is no thought. There is mind and breath as one. But the moment you start to arise a perception of what you have perceived, your mental aggregate of sanya, which is perception, has arisen. So it is a separate entity. You are no longer aware. Then what do? Chances are you will deludedly react or grasp onto it via your views and opinion. Unless you have the wisdom, initial wisdom or uniso manasikara, at the moment of sense experience, your feeling will be conditioned into craving of like and dislike almost immediately. So with wisdom, mindfulness, and heedfulness, you can be aware of thought and its content of consciousness. You can be aware at the moment of perception, feeling, and consciousness, etc. But the moment you are lost in thought or preoccupied with what you perceive, then your mind is no longer aware, and you and you have become heedless. The mind that is aware is always silent. Hence, the moment you are aware again, you don't perceive or think anymore. The mind with silent inner awareness is actually the oneness nature that can take in the entire phenomenon or outside. So this part you need to go through the cultivation. You need to stabilize your understanding. When you can stabilize your understanding, you will understand what this awareness nature is all about. Then you will have the ability to see all this and understand all this that I had shared with you all. So that nature within is very, very amazing, very beautiful, very unique. And that one without thought, the awareness nature is actually wisdom energy. It can understand, it can see things as they are, it can awaken. Uh, It can insight into phenomena. It can awaken. That's why that nature is very amazing, very unique, and very beautiful. So this aspect of understanding is not easy to develop, because when you are just silent and aware without a center, with that mindfulness nature or the awareness nature within, it is like the oneness nature. When you are there, fully aware, without a center, we call that spacious awareness without a center. Means you don't have a center from where you act from. You don't have an egoic mind. You have this spacious awareness that is just aware. And that one is actually your oneness nature. And very few people can have the ability to be one with everything. Yeah. And that nature is so pristine, so beautiful before the arising of thought. The stability of it is very important. So all of meditation is to train your mundane mind to silence. When your mundane mind ceases to be active, ceases to arise, then you can realize that nature. And that nature need to be stabilized until it's very stable, until you understand it very clearly. And that nature is the unconditioned, without words, without concept, nothing. The moment you try to create words, concept, and thought process, you are already arising the mundane mind. That's why that nature and the mundane mind, they are very near, very near. But living beings' problem is you have avijja, you have ignorance, you are heedless, you don't have the spiritual faculty. You cannot be with that nature, that silent mind, that awareness. You think a lot, you become heedless very fast. Your habitual tendency and all those things, your ignorance, your delusion, your sacrality, all this condition your mental activity, your thinking, your heedless thinking. Then, because you lack the spiritual faculty, the mental hindrance continuously arise. So every moment of sense experience, like and dislike, sensual desire and ill will, they keep on arising. These are your duality, your reaction of mind, your stirring of the mind through your like and dislike, or pleasant and unpleasant habitual tendency. So all this, you start to observe them, you start to see them in meditation. Without a stable daily mindfulness or awareness nature within, you cannot see all this. And you cannot understand who are you, what are you. That nature, which is separate from that mundane thinking, mundane mind, is your true mind, your true nature. Yeah. And that nature is so beautiful. It's just an awareness nature. It's not a being. It cannot come out and live life. It don't have an entity. But to be able to connect to that nature, you must have a vehicle and a tool karmically conditioned out for you to come to this conditioned world or existential world. That's the uniqueness of that uh, understanding. Because without the karmic nature to condition a form and mind for you to come, that nature cannot be realized. That nature cannot be uh, located. It's only after that form and mind come. That form and mind is like a vehicle and a tool for each and every living beings to arise within this conditioned world. Then when it arises, you must develop the meditative understanding to silence the mundane mind to realize that true mind, that silent mind, the inner nature, the inner awareness within. It's only when you can do that, stabilize that, then you can connect to your true nature. Then only you can inherit your spiritual nature. Then only you can understand what is going on in life. Then only you can meditate and all this thing. That's the reason why all of meditation is to train the mind to be heedful, to be aware, to realize that nature within. And the fastest way to meditate is to go beyond thought-based meditation, follow Huineng's teaching. Straight away, the first hallmark of his teaching is to go to the no thought stage. No thought stage means to realize the true mind, the silent mind. Otherwise, you use your thought process, your thinking mind, your mundane mind to meditate. Then how can you meditate? That mundane mind or the thought, which is the meditator, is active. Actively doing what? In the name of meditation. Note this, note that. Follow instruction, become gullible. Then look for this, look for that. Focus, concentrate. Then do a lot of funny things without understanding. As long as that thinking process or the thought is active, how can you be silent? How can you be aware? How can you understand what is going on? How can your mind settle down? How can there be peace? How can there be clarity? All this is very, very clear. But the funny thing is, our world, especially the Buddhist community, is full of gullible cultivators who still cling on to thought-based meditation, uh, going after method, technique, verbalize, uh, then note this, note that, focus, concentrate, uh, and chant and do a lot of funny things. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean you cannot chant. You can chant. You must chant with mindfulness, with faith, with awareness, with understanding. Then chanting becomes useful. But whatever skillful mean you use, you hold on to, is because most of these so-called practitioner of Dhamma or cultivator of Dhamma, they cannot make their mind quiet and peaceful. So when they cannot make their mind quiet and peaceful, what do? They need object of meditation. They need method and technique to anchor the mind so that it does not wander off heedlessly and think. Then it can become peaceful, calm, and develop the awareness of that object of meditation. But what is happening is people find that very difficult to develop the mindfulness, the awareness. So they go and through their own gullible way get interested in the one-pointedness cultivation, the absorption, concentration type of cultivation, thought-based energy field. So what they do is they focus, they concentrate their mind so that it will not think, so that it will stay one-pointedness. That is the beginning of downfall. Then the other one is absorption, is continuously absorbed into an object of meditation. They call it the kasina. In Thailand, it's called kasin. Then in India, the Hindu, they have 40 type of kasina, or 40 type of, 10 type of kasina, but 40 type of meditation object, where they use it to develop concentration, one-pointedness. So they have jhanic factors. The 5 jhanic factor is all thought-based initially. So they have vitaka, vichara. So vitaka is initial application of thought. Then vichara is sustained thought. Then when they can sustain their thought, they actually become very peaceful and very quiet. Then they experience piti. Piti is a spiritual calmness, spiritual joy. Then from piti, if they continue to focus, they will experience sukha, blissful state of mind. Then if they do anapanasati with a continuous mindfulness, they develop very intense piti and sukha. Then after that, the last one is ekagata, one-pointedness of mind. So when they can fix their mind, one-pointedness, there is no thought. That's how they become very peaceful, very calm, full of energy. Uh, then they develop the energy for psychic purpose. Otherwise, they cannot handle that energy problem. So a lot of them develop what they call yin-yang imbalance. They suffer. And some, they use it to radiate loving kindness and metta. That one better. Most of the Thai forest monk, they use it to radiate metta, love and compassion. They radiate out this energy. And when they do that, they realize their heart open up. That's why some of them manage to locate the gateway. But most of them, when they locate, is already very, very much later. They already reach near to 80 years old or 80 and above. Uh, so not much time left. Then most of them realize finally they had to release all this energy back into daily mindfulness. So these are the things that are happening. Yeah? So you go to Thailand, the forest tradition, you can have a lot of this type of teachers and teaching, which is to me not bad. My nature also have affinity with Thailand. I've been there many times on spiritual trips and all those things, and I met a lot of good, famous Thai teachers or Ajahn or Long Paul, and I benefited from many of the famous teachers' books and teaching too, especially Ajahn Chah during the early years. Then the other one is Ajahn Buddhadasa of Shemo. Uh, Ajahn Chah is from the uh, northeastern part of Thailand, Wat Patpong, his original monastery. Then he has a lot of Western disciples, uh, Western monks disciple. Then he set up Wat Patnanachat, which is a very good place to go for meditation too and retreat. There, the Wat Patnanachat there, the anapanasati energy is very strong, very, very strong. That nature there is very strong. Yes, a lot of these Western monks, their anapanasati are very good, and they develop it because they are trained in that tradition, Buddha, and they have quite a bit of this first, second, third turning teaching. Yeah, the other monk that talk about it is Sri Panyo, the three turning, how to follow Buddha. And later on, I think it starts to become more and more clear that that teaching is very important, very useful. And I realize all cultivator that has awakened, they realize the importance of the three turnings of the fundamental. Yeah. So later on, it seems more and more sharing on the three turning of the fundamental should come up. Mm. Okay, I will read on, then maybe you all can develop the understanding more. 2.3. During meditation, I was more aware and able to sense the cooking smell as if it's in front of my nose. Why? So this question 3 is, if I'm not wrong, based on one lady Kayanamita too. He said, during my meditation, I was more aware and I was able to sense the cooking smell from behind the kitchen as if it's just right in front of my nose. Why? Because we usually hold our retreat at Sampo Temple, and even at Wuping Jingse also. Sometimes on the new moon and the full moon, they also have their vegetarian type of food. So they also will be cooking all this food. So if you happen to have your meditation class or session there, then during the sitting, we tend to smell them, especially Cameron Highland, if you all can recall. Early morning, You remember we have very early breakfast. Now I want to read this one later. We have early morning breakfast. Yeah, that breakfast was prepared actually for us way beyond, way before. Sorry. So what happened was that early morning. Normally we wake up at 5:30. Then we get ready for class. The class usually start at about 6, or later on we adjust it to about 6:10 or 6:15, because there is this Mahayana chanting down there. They have their usual morning chanting. So a lot of Kayamita, they have affinity and they like that session. So many of them join that class, I realize. That's why we start a little bit later. But normally I will be there in the meditation hall at exactly 6 o'clock to oversee those who meditate in the meditation hall. Then we will normally have our exercise, morning exercise, mindfulness exercise. Then after that, we will have our Dhamma chanting, morning chanting, then some reflection. Then after that, we will have 30 minutes or 40 minutes or 45 minutes of silent awareness meditation. Then as we meditate, immediately after that is break for breakfast. So normally about 20 minutes before breakfast, you can smell the very nice cooking from downstairs, the kitchen down there. Uh, and this experience, I think many yogi have experienced them. That's why this question came from that condition. So what happened was this yogi say, it's as if you can smell them, as if that food is in front of you. It's actually not really in front of you. Because when you are developing the meditation, your mindfulness, your awareness is there, then your senses are heightened. Then you become very sensitive. You can detect all this very clearly and very fast. Uh, and if you really silence your mind, you will experience it completely differently. Next time you try it, don't be excited. Don't allow your memory to straight away perceive, oh, this morning they are going to have nice fried noodle or fried bihun or whatever you smell. Uh, then you try to perceive it. But you silence your mind completely. The clarity or awareness when you are with the moment is really very different. Without the words, you understand what this thing is. And the awareness of it is very different. Because when you are completely silent, it's very different. And how it conditions you through your sense experience. This one is nostril, the what they call your nose through your smell. Then how it conditions you to develop the craving for the food, the saliva to come out and all those things. Observe it, understand it, because you are a physical body with the senses, consciousness trapped inside. That's the reason why the Buddha said everything is dependent originating, condition arising. Dependent on condition, things arise. So what is the thing that condition all this? If you silence your mind completely, you will come to realize this smell thing, because when they cook it, when they really develop the cooking, there is heat, understand? And the heat together with the oil and the whatever ingredient that you use to cook, that smell that emit from there is really powerful, and it can go very far. It's like the incense. Uh, you can smell them far and wide. So when you smell them, that is the condition, the sense data for that smell consciousness to arise. So that sense data is what the silent mind perceives. Then you inquire or check through memory then the memory will tell you all those things. So what is important is when you are aware and mindful, see all the movement, how the awareness is aware of the mundane mind retrieving all this memory. Then when it retrieves, how it goes to the conditioning. And the conditioning condition you to behave or act in certain way. As I see all this, observe all this, and understand all this, then you realize you are not what you think you are. You are just like a machine. Understand? When condition is there, the phenomena arise. So everything is like what the Buddha say, dependent, originating, condition, arising, causal phenomenon. And it's multidimensional. From that sense data of that smell, how it trigger of that smell consciousness, and how it trigger of your mundane mind to retrieve all this, and how you react and stir, and how it condition you into various type of emotion or whatever. But when you have wisdom, you can still have joy and understanding and be with it. And you can experience the pristine beauty and wonders of every moment of consciousness, which is so pristine, so beautiful. And you can experience them without having to react to it and all those things. You can really develop the joy, the what they call happiness, because you have this wisdom, this understanding, and how it cannot deceive you and condition you into craving, negativity, and all that. And all these things become like very natural. When there is condition for things to arise, it will arise. And when it arises, if it does not condition you into craving, negativity, and attachment and grasping, then you have the understanding. You have the Dhamma. You are beautiful. But when it starts to condition you to grasp and cling and like have craving over that thing, then you better observe yourself. You see what is happening to yourself. So if this thing can draw you, condition you into that type of movement, then you must understand you have not developed the understanding, the stability of understanding. You can still fall. You can still be conditioned into craving and negativity. But when you understand, you reflect differently. Uh, you will reflect all the helpers, the cook, the monk, the organizer. They are the people who actually make all this possible. So you rejoice with their wholesomeness. You invoke the power of merits for their spiritual benefits. So you will have this understanding and you will actually go the Dhamma way. Then instead of craving and all those things, your mind state are very different. You will rejoice. All those who have donated, contributed, and help out in whatever way that make this possible, you rejoice and you thank them for making all this possible. Then you transfer merit and share merit. May this wholesomeness pave the way for them to realize their good and noble wishes. May they be well and happy. May the blessing of the triple gem be with them always. And you are mindfully, through awareness, through your training, come out, take your time, attend to whatever you need to attend to. Be mindful every moment, every action, every instant. If you are able to train this way, your mindfulness will pick up, your stability, your awareness will pick up, and your daily mindfulness will be there. Then the initial wisdom, if you have been following all the session and doing your duty, listening to Dhamma, straightening your view, cultivating and all things with a good religious routine, you should have the Yoniso Manasikara already. Then after that, the only thing is to stabilize your daily mindfulness, leading to sati sampajana, which is not difficult. That's why I say retreat condition is very conducive, very easy. And when you can do it, even in your daily meditative posture or any of our classes, Tuesday, Thursday, or Sunday, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, then when you can do it on your own for longer period before you sleep and after you wake up. Your daily mindfulness will stabilize, your sati sampajana will arise. And step 4 and 5, once you hit it, you will be home. Your cultivation becomes very beautiful. So these are all the understanding that you need to develop. So now I will read on. The smell can travel to your nose because you are more sensitive when your mind is silent. Oh, sorry, I better read from the beginning. My answer to the sister. When your mind is truly silent and you are aware, then this is possible because the smell is just smell consciousness. The smell can travel means that sends data to your nose. Where you are more sensitive when your mind is silent and not preoccupied with your thinking or distracted by any worry and anxiety or fear or insecurity or unresolved problems. If it is a vibration, like a very distant sound, you can also be aware of it. And the vibration here in consciousness is very clear and sort of like magnified. So the silent mind in awareness pervades the entire oneness. Uh, This one you have to go through the experience and the cultivation. Meditation is not about inquiry, how come my mind is like that and how come my mind is not behaving like that. Meditation is about developing the wisdom to understand clearly the universal laws and characteristics of nature, the universal law of nature that governs life and existence, and to understand how you function as a human being and what this so-called human being is all about. So this one is more important. It is also to understand how your mind works and function, thereby understanding clearly the dwelling of paticca samuppada or law of dependent origination as taught by the Buddha. Then the Dhamma will become very clear. So, like I used to share, the Dhamma or truth is everywhere. So why can't you see? If only your mind is silent, you will be aware, then you can see. It's as if all of a sudden you can awaken to it. Hearing the truth, contemplating and reflecting upon it can bring about a lot of understanding and joy. Wisdom is not a rigid knowledge. It must be awakened to or insight into phenomena. Thought is created via a focusing of the perceived with its content of consciousness that was introduced into it. Initially, it's just spacious, pure awareness and silent. Learn to see how thought arises. When the mundane mind collapses, the pure awareness nature of supramundane mind will shine forth and it will be a lot clearer. Yeah. So this one, you have to really go to your nature, then stabilize it, then develop the stability and transformation, internal transformation. Then when you are able to stabilize that gateway and allow your whatever yin yang energy to melt inside, then that pure energy will transform your internal consciousness or movement activity. Then it will make your what they call nature's vibration very, very fine. Where that pure energy, that pure uh, mind's nature is very different. It can actually transform your consciousness and vibration until it's very, very fine. And these are so pure. That's why it will heal you. It will like cleanse your internal nadis and chakras. So all this movement and activity, they are really, really amazing. And once that thing happens, it can condition many other things to happen. Because when this vibration become very, very fine, your mundane mind, which is relatively gross, they cannot stay. That's why they will start to collapse. But the process before the collapse is very interesting. You go through it, you will know, you will understand how it happened. Yeah. And after it happened, it's even more amazing. It's like a layer of consciousness just drop off from your brain there, your forehead there. That is like you have no mind. But the new mind, which is very fine, like no mind inside, but there is still movement, you will know. But that one is very fine, very smooth, like no resistance, nothing inside there. Uh, and that one also can perceive, can know, like the mundane mind, but it's a very fine mind. So the cultivator will know what that mind is. We call it the supramundane mind. So when the mundane mind collapses, the supramundane mind actually arises. Actually, it's your nature's awareness shine forth. The awareness nature shine forth. But very strange that nature can also arise a supramundane mind to have the aggregate. It's like the mundane mind, except now the supramundane mind is with the aggregate that is non-grasping because of the wisdom. And this aggregate, they cannot grasp, they cannot hold, they cannot cling. That's why your memory all become very funny at that time. Uh, like you know, you cannot want to remember things and all those things. You cannot. It's, your mind is non-grasping. It cannot do all those funny things really. That's why after that, I know what happened. That I don't try to remember things because it tell you, you want to suffer, you go and read. You want to suffer, you go and remember. No need. That's why I came to know, my nature came to know, wisdom is not a knowledge. No need to remember anything. Once awakened, is with your nature. It's always there. It understands. That's why it can there and then, within the moment, on the spot, spontaneously explain to you, answer you, and let you understand. So all this, the individual cultivator will come to understand. Because the real awakening and transformation is so different. Then when it happened, that supramundane mind is so beautiful, so beautiful. Because it cannot grab, it cannot hold. Sometimes whatever I share with you, the next moment I cannot remember. I also don't know what I say. That's why I have to ask you, why did I come to this stage? Then you remind me of the condition that I can recall. Otherwise, that memory cannot stay. That's why this brain has become non-grasping. It cannot accumulate like last time already. It cannot like want to hold on to things. Oh, want to like accumulate things. Cannot really. Because it's non-grasping. This mind is like very free, very very free. It's like there was no mind inside there. But no mind, how can I know? How can I perceive and do all those things? But because it's so fine. And this supramundane mind is really a marvel, a miracle. That's why only special beings who go the bodhisattva way, who are able to penetrate that nature, can have that condition. Then their nature shine forth. Then when their nature shine forth, the funny thing is, I remember during the early day, Yun Chan used to tell me, Pratio, you're so good. You should go to retreat. You become enlightened very fast. But I don't know how to explain to her. Because no more mundane mind. No more want to be aware. No more want to cultivate and all things. Because all those things is already over. That nature is just like that. That nature shine forth. Means my nature is automatically 24 aware. Do you understand? How to go and learn mindfulness? But that nature is already like that. No more mundane mind, like the cloud, the whatever things that actually obscure the sky, prevent the sun's ray from coming in. That one clear, completely clear, like clear sky. No more mundane minds, emotion, sakaya ditti, negativity of mind. Oh, no more. Means what? Completely the awareness nature, which is without anything to obscure. Then that time, the nature from inside shine forth. That's why it's that supra-mundane nature shine forth. And that one, the awareness is so different. So how to let people know and how to explain to people when this type of thing happen? That's the reason why a lot of cultivator, when they don't have that type of understanding, they cannot understand what my nature try to share. So all this come about because there is condition to explain nowadays. Because more and more Kayamita have the condition to have this understanding. So that this sharing later on, you listen to it again when you progress along the cultivation, especially those that have the condition to locate their gateway and develop the meditation until your mundane mind collapse. Then when it happens, you will understand what I say. You will have a lot of joy, a lot of gratitude. Uh, then you will have tears flowing. Because these are so beautiful. Uh, Rare is it to have a cultivator that can have that kind of experience and understanding. Mm. So when it happens, when it unfolds, the individual will know, will understand. Mm. Okay, I will read on to maybe just finish off this chapter. Huh? No more already. Oh, this chapter is already finished. Oh, good. Exactly 10:13. Huh? Very good. Okay. So 10:13. Huh? So we can stop here. So we are left with chapter 40 and 41. Okay. So we will open up for maybe reporting or meditation or whatever question that you might have or whatever understanding that you might want to know. Okay, you can just come in while I have a drink. In fact, what Suyan suggested last Sunday was very good. Dhamma in daily life. That one, the topic is more wide and easy for every one of you to understand. You should actually reflect and contemplate that Dhamma in daily life. Whether you are able to really put it into cultivation or develop the understanding of it. Means in the midst of your daily life, are you applying the Dhamma? And how do you apply the Dhamma? After listening to so many, after reading up and hearing so many. So what are the things that you have picked up? And are you able to understand it to really develop the cultivation of it? Application of Dhamma. That's why Dhamma in daily life is very useful, very important. And in cultivation there are many aspects. Many aspects of it. First, of course, is the understanding of the teaching, the understanding of what is meditation, how to go about developing the cultivation, and how to really apply what you have cultivated or developed as understanding. So the application of it is very different. You have gone through, you can describe them, and you can see how well you have progressed or you have the ability to do it. So all these are very useful. Selena, yes, Selena, yes. Yeah.
Actually, Raju, I come across there's one video shown in the TV. How they cultivate in Korea.
Okay.
They did the bowing. They bow one time, and then they put a thread and put the bead into as one pregnant. 108 times. And they did that.
Yeah. So what is it that you have learned, or what is it that you want to share? Yeah, it's common. It's common. Yeah.
Whether you teach us to do the bowing, the bowing to practice to get the sati.
Of course, your bowing, if you do it, there are a lot of benefits. You must always remember and listen attentively. Then you write it down. Then it becomes clear to you. Otherwise, it continuously become like question. Understand? So what you are trying to ask is, if I don't get you wrong, why they do that? Why I teach you just bow? It's nothing to do with why, because you fail to understand what is being shared. What is being shared is bowing is respect. Understand?
I don't know.
Wait. Bowing is respect. Understand? You pay respect because you can maybe develop respect to the worthy ones, to those that are your elders. That's why you pay respect. It's a meritorious action. So they call it reverential salutation. But when you do it, the Buddha advises, you must do it mindfully. When you do it mindfully, you develop sati. And what is sati? Body and mind move as one. That's it. Whether you use a bit to record it or use whatever to record it is up to you. But when you record it, you break your sati. Why do you want to record it? Because they have been taught that tradition. In fact, Mahayana also do that. They have the bits, 108 bits. Then, by the time they reach the knot, they know they have done it 108 times. So they no need to count how many times they have bowed. Understand? And theirs is full prostration, then come out. And theirs is longer. So as you do it, you develop humility. Is the other benefit. Then, at the same time, you exercise your body. You cultivate mindfulness. So there are a lot of benefits, a lot of wholesomeness. And how you do is not important. Everyone is different. Whatever that suits you, benefit you, use it. Understand, Selena? Huh?
Yeah.
So that part very important. Yeah. Yes, you want to say something?
Not everybody can do it, because sometimes if they are not in good health, they bow to get giddy.
You see, Selena, you must always remember this aspect of cultivation. If your thought keep on going after this type of thinking, means you are not focused, you are not developing the faith and the understanding. Why do you want to know whether other people can do it or not? Like you say, not everybody can do it. Sometimes they feel giddy. These are the questions that are not relevant to meditation. Do you understand? Because to me, it's the mundane mind, the thought that try to justify. So what is the purpose of that question? Because not everybody can do it. So maybe I'm one of that. Not everybody can do it. So no need to do. That is not the correct way to contemplate and reflect. It defeats the purpose. These are all negative thought process, tendency. Why do you want to arise that thought? Non-beneficial. Do you understand? So forget about it. The focus is what? Why I do it? I do it to develop sati. Then I observe how other people do. They have their way. Then if I can learn, I learn.
then if I can rejoice, I rejoice. That is better, more beneficial, understand? Rather than go and think, why they do like that? Brother Teoh teach me that. All these are frivolous, heedless thinking. Do you understand? So the habitual tendency, you must break it. You must see it in your mind. Why are you still thinking along that line? This is what the heedless people will do. They try to justify. Maybe don't need so mafan one. We can just do it following what. It's all this thought which is heedless, deluded, non-beneficial, that create a problem for cultivator. Then it become what? Argument, discussion, and non-beneficial. The focus is, the gist of it is a meritorious action to train your mind to develop sati, and it has a lot of benefit. So, are you focused on this? Are you developing the bowing as a skillful means to cultivate sati, to develop humility, to strengthen your karmic nature, to develop meritorious action? Where when you pay respect to elders, toward you want four things grow. Ayu, wana, sukhang, palang. So have joy, have faith, and just do. Why you want to have those type of non-beneficial, heedless thinking and thought process and question? Hopefully you can see that. This question can help a lot of people. Thank you so much, yes, Lena. Sadhu. Okay, anybody else? We should thank Selina for sharing that question or topic. Otherwise, I think not only her, many of the cultivators also, if you are not mindful enough, observant enough, you end up doing all those things. And these are things that people who are not focused will do. They ask funny questions, very strange type of question. 10:30 already. I heard the alarm from my wife phone. 10:30. Okay, if no more, then maybe we stop. Yeah, my daughter would like to share. Yeah.
I think the how to bow question actually come up quite often, a few times already. So I thought of an analogy. Like now we know washing hands are very important, and then everyone has seen the TV advertisement how you should wash your hand. Then that becomes the correct way to wash your hand. But when you're really outside, and then when you need to wash and you come to a sink and you go and eat durian, then they give you a sink, sometimes got soap, sometimes no soap. Are you going to say, no, I need to wash the correct way, or else the COVID-19 germs will still be in here? You make do with what you have. You investigate. Okay, if no soap, what else can I use? How can I have it? Maybe antiseptic, I spray. You find so many ways of cleaning your hand. The objective is to clean your hand. It's not how you wash your hand with soap and count, sing happy birthday 2 times, brush the front, brush the back, scrub your nails. I mean, you become robot already. Your washing hand become something you're not mindful of already. You just follow the motion, do until, got wash, no wash also. Sometimes you don't know. Yeah, so that is how I see it. The question isn't important how. More important is to investigate and to try. I wash like that, clean or not? I wash like you feel for yourself. Then when I wash, how come after I wash, I close the water, I don't feel clean? Then you turn on and then you try again. Then you try wash different way. You try use different type of soap, different type of water. You try different technique. Use cloth to wipe. So you find your own way of washing or keeping clean. Might not even be washing for you. You come out with new technique. Then you share with your friends. Then you go on TV. Then this is the best way to keep yourself clean. You discover new ways to keep your hand clean. So you discover your own way of bowing, your own way of cultivation. That is how I relate to the topic.
Okay, let us rejoice, Sadhu. So again, the focus is very important. If the focus is to clean your hand, then just clean your hand. That's it. You do all sorts of things, want to follow others and all those things, no point. If you do it without understanding, you become gullible. Then you stress yourself out. I don't think I do it correctly, or I must follow. I didn't watch more than 20 seconds. Or you create your own mental suffering and stress for what? Instead of be with the moment, to live life, to have joy, to have understanding, enjoy your durian. After you finish, you need to clean. Go and clean it. That's it. And when you clean, if you are mindful, you are aware, you will know how to clean it well. Then, like my daughter said, condition like that, things will like that. Because at the durian store, most of the time, the water supply is weak. You don't have much strong water flowing. Then the whatever liquid they give you are the standard one that for washing dish one. It's not the one that you go to the mall where you spray and all those things, because that one is more expensive. But the focus is, what are you doing it for? Are you doing it to clean your hand? If that's the case, then just do it. Then when you do it, you're supposed to be mindful, aware of every action, every moment in the present moment. Are you able to do that? Are you with your nature, the awareness within? Are you aware of what is going on? And this is cultivation, not all the thinking, the heedless thinking. If you are mindful and observant, you will start to see a lot of those thinking are irrelevant, not important, non-beneficial, lead to heedlessness. Then why do you want to arise those thoughts, those thinking? So learn to see all this. Then you will become very beautiful. You are very clear. Especially you listen to Puching sharing. Like now she live her life so differently. Last time she used to stress out and all things, like difficult things and all things, and you worry. Now no more of those mental states. You just do it with clarity, understanding and joy. And she realized she is so efficient now. And everything is like, can be done so easily with joy and understanding. Because there is clarity. He just mindfully do. Resolve it. Finish. Then no more like the old mind, complain, check, think, I do it like that, correct. Follow Brother Theo's instruction or not. Or follow that video of that TV. All this type of non-beneficial type of thinking, which to me is actually the mundane mind, active, habitual tendency, heedless thinking, not relevant. That's why you have to understand, then be very focused. Then when you do that, until it becomes part of your nature, you become beautiful. You will not go back to the old way, the heedless way, the non-beneficial thinking, the thought process, the questioning, or no more. It's no more about justifying things, no more. Because there is a habitual tendency. And you ask that question without really understanding what is going on. Why do you want to know that not everybody can do it? Some may have headache, like just now Selena tried to share. No point in that. The question is, are you doing it with the understanding to cultivate or not? Then nothing to do with other people. Then why you arise that type of thought? See it. That is in fact a very good example. So when you understand that, then when you ask other type of irrelevant question, non-beneficial question, you will be aware. Straight away you will know, oh yeah, what Selena gave as example is very good. Because most of the time when you are heedless, you don't see all this. These are your habitual tendency. These are the norm of society. Human beings who are heedless, who are frivolous in their approach to life, they tend to have that tendency to do all those strange things, non-beneficial things. Okay? So with that, I think we end. Thank you so much. We should rejoice one more time and thank all those who have shared. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.